The Hungry Lesson of the Lazy Bear. The lazy bear ambled through the forest, its shaggy fur ruffled by the crisp autumn breeze. The leaves crunched under its paws as it aimlessly wandered, taking in the vibrant hues of orange, red, and yellow that blanketed the trees. It knew that soon hibernation season would arrive, but it didn't feel the urgency to stock up on food like the other bears. They were busily foraging and storing nuts and berries in their underground dens, preparing for the long, cool weather ahead. The lazy bear, on the other hand, continued its carefree existence, content with occasional meal of fallen fruits and grubs. Eventually, the first snowflakes began to fall, signaling the arrival of winter. The other bears, now well prepared, retreated to cozy dens, where they would remain for months, hibernating through the hot weather. But the lazy bear was still nowhere near ready. It had barely gathered enough food to last a week, let alone the month it would need to survive the winter. Reluctantly, it trudged to a nearby cave and huddled inside, shivering as the icy wind howled outside. The lazy bear didn't expect to sleep well, and it was proved right when it awoke a few hours later, its stomach growling with hunger. It struggled to its paws, feeling groggy and weak from its brief slumber. The cave was cold and dark, with only a small opening at the entrance letting in any light. The snow continued to fall outside, creating a thick blanket of white that obscured everything beyond the entrance. The lazy bear considered leaving the cave, but the thought of facing the bitter cold and the relentless snowstorm made it want to curl up and go back to sleep. Eventually, hunger powered its fear, and it forced itself out of the cave. The storm hit it like a wall, driving the bear to its knees as it struggled to move forward. The wind howled through the trees, causing the branches of creak and groan. The once vibrant forest now seemed lifeless and desolate, covered in a mantle of white. The lazy bear could see nothing but whirling snowflakes and the vague shapes of trees and rocks as it froze itself through the storm. It wasn't long before the bear found itself standing at the edge of a river. The once bubbling stream was now frozen solid, with a thick layer of ice covering its entire surface. The bear let out a disheartened growl, realizing that the river had frozen during the night. There was no way it could catch any salmon now, its usual source of food. It looked around desperately, searching for any sign of food, but the landscape seemed devoid of life. The snow continued to fall, blanketing the ground even deeper. The lazy bear's fur was soon caked with ice and snow. Weighing it down, it stumbled and slipped on the slick surface. Its breath coming out ragged gasps. The cold was seeping into its bones, making every movement an effort. The bear let out a pathetic whimper, realizing that it was exhausted and would not be able to find any food today. It struggled to its feet, determined to find some shelter before it succumbed to the elements. After what seems like an eternity, the bear spotted a small cave tucked away among the rocks. With a final burst of energy, it scattered towards the entrance and collapsed inside, shivering uncontrollably. The cave was cold and damp, but at least it offered protection from the relentless storm. The lazy bear lay there for what felt like days, too weak to move. Its fur was matted with snow, and its paws were raw from the cold. The only sound in the darkness was the howl of the wind and the muffled pattern of snowflakes against the cave's entrance. Gradually, the storm abated, and the sun began to peek through the clouds. The bear mustered the strength to stand once more, its movements slow and labored. Outside, the world was transformed. The snow had stopped falling, but a thick blanket of white still covered the ground. The trees were heavy with ice, their branches creaking and groaning under the weight. The river was still frozen, its surface a shimmering sheet of ice. The bear knew that it was unlikely to find food here, but it had nowhere else to go. It forced itself to begin a slow, painful shuffle through the wintry landscape. As it wandered aimlessly, the bear stumbled upon a small clearing. To its surprise, it found several other bears huddled together, sharing what little food they had. The lazy bear approached cautiously, its head hung low in submission. The other bears' eyes in warily, but eventually accepted it into their group. They shared what little food they had, and the lazy bear found itself regaining some of its strength. The days passed, and snow began to melt. The river thawed, and the bears returned to their traditional hunting grounds. The lazy bear slowly regained its strength and began to help others hunt for food. They caught fish in the river and foraged for berries and nuts in the forest. Life began to return to normal, and the once desolate landscape was transformed into a bustling bear community.